Hey guys, my name is Sam Dennis, and first of all, I would like to start this video by saying that this is the first video that should be coming out on YouTube on my channel. So everything's really in the early testing stages, and I'm getting used to this whole YouTube thing, so we're going to kind of see how things go from here. But anyway, I know I had done a poll and stuff to see kind of what y'all wanted to see, but I decided that I would start it with something that I was kind of interested in, just, to kick things off. So we'll see how this goes from here, and I would appreciate if you comment under the video. Just let me know if you like this type of video. So I've been thinking about this for a while, but I was like, you know what, maybe I could make that into a video. So the question is, does what the Bible say support or discourage the right to bear arms? So first of all, before I start this video, I would just like to say that everything that I'm talking about here is just my personal opinion, and I strongly encourage you to study the Bible yourself and compare what I'm saying to what you find there. So guns have been a part of this country since its very early beginnings. I mean, settlers needed to defend their homes from both animals and other humans. And when this country got its independence, our army or military was mostly formed of just common citizens with their own personal weapons. As time has gone by, though, the right to bear arms has been coming under a lot of scrutiny. Many people, including myself, wholeheartedly agree that we have the right to own firearms. The Second Amendment states, "A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and to bear arms shall not be infringed." I've heard many arguments from both sides, and I know where I personally stand. But thinking about this, though, had sparked a question in my head. What does the Bible say about this topic? I mean, obviously there's no such thing as a gun back then, but the Bible does mention weapons many times. So after a little bit of research, I came across some verses that I feel are well-fitting for this topic, so I'm going to talk about them and then add in my personal interpretations of what they say. All of what I'm going to be reading here is from the New King James Version. The verse that I had found while I was working on this video was Exodus 22:2, and it says, "If the thief is found breaking in, and he is struck so that he dies, there shall be no guilt for his bloodshed." So at first, this passage from Exodus seems to be pretty straightforward. If a thief is found breaking in and is confronted in the act, the defender is not found guilty. This is similar to what we would call castle doctrine. So it would seem that this verse does support the right to bear arms and castle doctrine at first glance. However, when you really start to look at this passage more, you can find that this was written under the law of Moses, the Old Testament, and not under the law of Christ. Another important thing is to look at the verse after, which is Exodus 22 verse 3, which says, "If the sun has risen on him, there shall be guilt for his bloodshed. He should make full restitution. If he has nothing, then he shall be sold for his theft." So basically that's saying that if this scenario happens during the daytime and the defender can see the attacker and the attacker or thief is killed, then the defender is still found guilty for murder. Therefore, I would say that this verse does not support castle doctrine and the right to bear arms. When talking about this, one important thing that should be mentioned is a passage found in Romans 13. Romans 13, 1-7 says, "Let every soul be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except from God, and the authorities that exist are appointed by God. Therefore, whoever resists the authority resists the ordinance of God, and those who resist will bring judgment upon themselves. For rulers are not a terror to good works, but to evil. Do you want to be unafraid of the authority? Do what is good, and you will have praise from the same. For he is God's minister to you for good. But if you do evil, be afraid, for he does not bear the sword in vain. For he is God's minister and avenger to execute wrath on him who practices evil. Therefore you must be subject not only because of the wrath, but also because of conscience sake. For because of this you must also pay taxes, for they are God's ministers, attending continually to this very thing. Render therefore all to their due, taxes to whom taxes are due, customs to our customs, fear to whom fear, honor to whom honor." So this passage I just read in Romans is very clear. Governing authorities have been put in place by God, and therefore we're to listen and obey their laws. So, is the Bible specific on whether or not we have the right to carry arms? I would say it's not. There are many stories of times that people use weapons in the Bible, although it is not necessarily encouraged or commanded. However, we do live in a dangerous world, and that is why many people choose to own guns. So the choice is ours. Should we or should we not be able to own firearms? I would say that it's a definite yes that we should. So honestly, like 100% honest with y'all, I figured that the Bible would be more specific on this as to whether or not we as citizens should have the right to bear arms. But the more I've been looking into it, the more I've begun to realize that the right to bear arms isn't mentioned in the Bible, and it is more of a human type issue. The Bible is very specific on violence, on murder, on sin in general. We're not supposed to take a life. That's one of the 10 commandments. I think it's the 5th commandment. And trying to fit the right to bear arms into the Bible and make some passages work for it, I just don't think that there's enough in the Bible to support it or discourage it. So I think it really comes down to ourselves. Are we confident, capable, and should we be trusted with firearms? Obviously, I think that someone who has low self-control and is not competent when using a firearm, I personally don't think that they should own a gun. However, I don't think that the government should be able to regulate what kind of guns we can own. Guns have been a key part of this country since its very early beginnings, and I think that as U.S. citizens, we should be allowed to own guns, be able to use them. Guns are like any other tool. If used incorrectly, they can cause lots of harm. If used correctly, they should be fine. However, as a gun owner, I can't help but notice that as time goes by, gun laws have been getting more and more restricted, and our freedoms have been slowly taken away. So I strongly encourage you, go vote for people who support us and the right to bear arms. Don't let more of our freedoms be taken away. Like I said earlier in Romans, as Christians, we are called to listen to our governing authorities. However, we still can't make our voices heard. Stand up for God, our families, our guns, and our country. If you made it this far through the video, thank you. Once again, I would strongly encourage you to read the Bible yourself and see what you find, as I'm a human with my own biases. I'll admit, I have some very strong 2A biases. However, this video was just something that I was really interested in and wanted to get out there. So if you liked it, I would appreciate it if you would comment under the video. Just let me know your thoughts on it. And if you really liked it and you want to see more stuff like this, please subscribe and share. Because as of now, this video is very new. This channel is very new, and I would appreciate all the word that I can get spread around about it. Thank you very much, and until next time, see ya. If you're wondering why the set keeps changing every single take, that's why.